Hello, welcome pen friends. I've got an inky video today. I've been working in my ink journal and I've got 5 ink samples that I've been splashing around with and trying out in my pens. Actually, I have stuck pretty close to the Lamy All-Star and the Lamy Vista with the broad nib so that I could be consistent. But the first ink I did try out in a stub and a fine nib and a broad nib, and that was the Robert Oster, this rose gold Antiqua, which is really pretty, and it also really difficult sometimes to show with the lighting. So you'll want a sample of any of these really, because it is tough with cameras and screens and lights and the whole 9 yards. It's tough, but we say that all the time. It just can't be said often enough that you do need a sample. But we can get in the ballpark by comparing other colors, and that's what we'll do. The other 4 inks, besides the Robert Oster one, are all a new to me brand, which is Pennonia. And it's an ink brand, but it's one person doing this. His name is Matt, and these inks come out of Romania. They're being carried now at Vanness, and that's where I got my samples. Let's see. And I think also they're being carried at Sugar Inks, but I haven't ordered from them yet. They're in New Jersey. So that's something I'm going to look into too. But I made a small order, and Vanness Pen Shop, Lisa and Mike threw in some samples. So I've got these to show you, and it's been a really fun week to work with something new like this. I've got quite a few something news to go through as I try to decide what goes together, but this was really fun because it's 4 from the same ink brand, which kind of in a way mimics how it was with ink flights, where you got to kind of see, well, how are they similar and how are they different to each other? And how does this ink brand behave? And there's only 2 generalizations I can make about all 4 of these. One is they flow super well. And the other is I'm seeing shading. I'm seeing shading even in just the broad nib. And it's exciting because they're different from each other, as you're going to see in the ink journal. I've got each ink worked up in the Lockbee A5 ink journal. I'm on number 3 of those now. But 2 of them, let's see, I'll hold those up. These 2 were lighter saturated, but still very pretty, kind of a light green and a pink. And then the other 2, oh my gosh, I went crazy for this one, this blue one here. Oh my goodness, it's called Kecfini Blue Light. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that first word right, but you could see that red sheen. And it's, oh my gosh, wait till you see the comparison inks on that one. And then this one is much more of a kind of a burgundy red, but it's, again, these reds are really shy in the camera. They want to brighten up, and it irritates me, but I shall not let it stop me from trying to show you. And when we do the comparison panels, or at least I don't have them all paneled up, I've got stacks of comparisons, then you'll probably be familiar with at least one of the inks, and that'll help you place it. But you want a sample, really, if your interest gets, you know, piqued by any of these. So it's been a really fun kind of inky week because I've kind of concentrated on getting these 4 done after I got the rose gold one done. I think without any further ado, we'll just go to the desk and I'll show you what I came up with, some of the findings. Okay? Hope you're doing well. I think where I hesitate is I'll get to talk to you on the other end, but I haven't yet spliced 3 pieces together of a video, so bear with me. I'll probably learn that eventually too. Well, I'll see you down on the desk. I thought we'd just start with the map because I had to look and see where's Romania. And it is, here's Ukraine right here, and here's Romania, this little purple section right here. Poland, I have a pen friend from Poland up above. So that's just to kind of locate us on the map. And now I'm going to get the ink journal out. Okay, as I said, this is a Lockbee A5 with 68 GSM Chamois River paper, oops, and a rickshaw sticker that I love. And I started new in this one. So first up, I was working, I think when the order came in, if I remember right, I was working on No, this is one of the samples I ordered, and then the 4 samples that came to me were included, that it was a surprise. So here it is. Let's see, is the camera doing anything bad to it? It's very shimmery. It's got kind of a copper shimmer. Let's see. Oh, I let that get away, but you can see it in the bottom of the vial. Darn it, I don't know where it is, and I don't want to go on a goose chase right now, but it definitely is coppery. So, you know, at first glance, it might look a little bit gold, but it's really pretty. Okay, so this Robert Oster ink came from Vanness. I got it in a 4 ml sample, and it's available in a 50 ml bottle, lots of different places. Oh, I wrote over that. So it's either 24 or 25. I don't remember the mistake, which direction I had gone into it. I've got it in the broad nib up to this point, and then I put it in the 1.5 Goulet stub, which was my favorite of everything. It just seemed to really be dark enough, and I've written some letters with that. I didn't necessarily like it in the fine nib, even though it wrote okay, but that's just me. That's just nib preference. So it's a muted rose pink, or to me it is anyway, with coppery shimmer, and I do really like it. But I think for me personally, besides putting it in the stub nib, which was great, the real fun was this splatter. I mean, in art, I can just see this, you know, how beautiful it is on the Tomoy River. And that little taped in piece is 52 GSM Tomoy River paper. It didn't have any water resistance, but I didn't expect that. There's the chromatography. So when it came around to comparing this with other inks, it was a little bit tricky. So let's see what we found here. I really couldn't find anything that matched. I'm trying to see if there's anything that even jumps out. It just doesn't. Okay, but right away I kind of thought about Robert Oster Dusty Pink, even though that's quite a bit darker and totally different, really. And then my Platinum Lavender Black. Something wrong with that picture. That's permanent, or mostly permanent. I don't know, something's making me hesitate about that. Robert Oster Lipstick Red is redder rather than that pink. And Cherry Blossom is just way weaker. I remember that wasn't saturated enough. It didn't look the same in a nib, or it didn't. And then this is just for comparison, a Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Roses, which, you know, just much brighter. Tremendous Apple Blossom. Okay. See, but I couldn't get anywhere near it. So then I picked out a couple of shimmer inks that have caught my eye, or at least one shimmer ink. This is Van Diemen's Diamonds Are a Girl's BFF, but there's just such a difference in color family there. It's so far apart. But I thought, if you're familiar with it, that'll show you how far away that is. And then Van Diemen's Black Tongue Spider Orchid, which is new to me. Kind of, even though it's so far apart from that, it made me think of it, and I had to pull it out. So that's kind of the comparisons. I don't know, there's something bothering me about this one, so we better just take that out. Maybe I've got that labeled wrong. I don't remember. I will have to check on that. But you can, now this won't be, I'm not sure whether this is available yet at Ink Swatch. I'll have to check and see if someone else has sent it in this week. It wasn't the last I checked, and I'm probably going to mail it to Matt because Matt at Ink Swatch, because I had so much trouble trying to, you know, color match it, and I think when we scan it, he's going to need a visual on this one. So, okay, now I'm just blabbering. Good grief. I haven't learned how to trim out blabbering yet, so I better just quit doing it. Okay, the next one, we're starting now on the Pannonia inks. The first one is Vattacukor. Okay, I'm not going to pretend I can say that, but it's Cotton Candy, the end of it there. And it's a pink, which is reddening up quite a bit on camera, and that irritates me. That's why we need samples. But it's very pretty, and it's got a lot of shading. You know, especially for such a relatively light, but it's got plenty of saturation. It's just, it's not dark, but it's got nice shading. And these inks are available 50 ml for $13 at Vanness, a 4 ml sample for $2.60. I had just a little bit of something sticking probably from that side. Ha! I must not have put my divider in. But I said this is a nice dusty pink on, well, I don't know why I'm calling it dusty pink, because it's not quite light enough to call dusty pink, but it's very pretty. Let's see what I came up with for comparisons. I didn't see any water resistance, and there's the, let's see, make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing, the chromatography. Okay, I think I was kind of liking the match with Montegrappa Red, but those of you who know Montegrappa Red know that we're seeing it's too red on the camera, and there's not much I could do about that. Colorverse Felicity is not a match either. Pelikan Edelstein Star Ruby. I liked comparing the two, even though they're far apart. Colorverse Lights on Series. You can go to Instagram, and I was able to do a little bit of fiddling around on that, but I still wasn't happy with how the color looked. There's Kaweco Ruby Red. Again, this is our ink of the day, or the one we're looking at. Diatramenous Dante Alighier is a little more saturated, maybe quite a bit more. But this is a lighter in the color family, I would say. Can't see what the name of the ink is. Colorverse Redshift is one of my favorites, and it's just deeper. It's deeper, but it's really pretty. And then I got out Rohr & Klinger Morinda, even though I feel like there's a long way between the two. This is much redder, this is much pinker. That kind of helps for comparison, I guess. Okay, sometimes I'm not sure about this, but I do know that it helps get in the ballpark. It helps me a lot, but when you have an actual visual on them, it does make a big difference. Let's see. Okay, so next is my favorite from these five, really. I got to say it right off the bat. This is an intense blue. It is beautiful. It's called Kecfini Blue Light, and I was just blown away by it. Of course, I used it right after I had just got done with a lighter cotton candy one, and I just was... I love blue. It has red sheen, but the red sheen does not take over the writing. That's one of the things that I like. It's subtle, and it provides like a shading effect as far as I can tell. That's what I notice. Let's see. I'm seeing the best place to see that is right in here, but I wish I had a better ability to show you. It's just gorgeous, and it behaved well on the Leuchtturm paper. That was, all of these did, which really, really made an impression on me, because I was working in a broad nib, the Lamy Vista with a broad nib. So to be able to go and write in Leuchtturm and not have it bleed through was so good. And that's why I put very tempting. Inkaholics beware, and I mean it, because this is a very tempting ink. Let's see how it compares. I had a good time with that. Let's see. First off, Diamine Skull and Roses. It's got that red sheen, maybe a little bit more. In fact, I'm sure Diamine Skull and Roses has more red sheen, and it will take over the writing a little more, and so I like the Pannonia one better. Now, this is not a match, but I wanted to compare it because a lot of people know Noodler's Liberty's Elysium. Let's see. Oh, here's one I thought was a really good kind of in the ballpark. Troublemaker Inks Simone. That really comes close in my book. I'd have to get out another pen and well, I don't have any of that sample left, so I can't, but it's really pretty. It's right in that ballpark. And then Noodler's American Eel is definitely not the same. It doesn't have as much red sheen, and well, the tone is just different. Colorverse Supernova really made me think of it. That's got a ton of red sheen too. Let's see, we'll put it side by side. You know, you're right in the ballpark with many of these. Not all of them. I would, well, depends on your eyes, I guess. Bungabox Hatsukoi. In this tile, it's looking lighter, but it has that brightness, that beauty. Monteverde Horizon Blue is a really good option in Monteverde, but and it does have red sheen, but I still think this intensity of this one and Simone, you just can't beat that. Okay, this is the Birmingham Electron, the new formula. I thought some of us that have been playing around with the Birmingham inks, you know, because this is pretty intense, but look at that. I mean, that's even more intense, the blue light. So for what it's worth, there are those comparisons. Worth a penny. Okay, so next, we got two more. And next is Meggyes Sour Cherry. It's a beautiful red, and the camera does stuff to it, of course. It's just beautiful. I mean, I did have a little accident back through the other side there, and I dripped some water on it. Darn it, I was real messy. Let's pick it up so you can see the splatters. I loved how all of these splattered. They're plenty wet. They're nice and wet inks, in my opinion, and they all made these really interesting splatters, especially, oh my gosh, this one really was intense on the paper. There's the chromatography, very straightforward, but still just a gorgeous ink. And again, they're all available 50 ml bottles for $13, and 4 ml sample for $2.60. Now, I don't mean all available. You'll have to check, because I imagine these are going to fly off the shelves. And the reason being because when they're imported that way, and, you know, well, I'll link you to the actual maker of the inks blog post where he talks about that, how it's not so easy and there's a lot of taxes and so forth. But yeah, I just love this color, and it kind of reminded me of J. Arbonne Rouge Grenade, which is one of my favorites. I was really, let's see, I want to look back real quick. Yeah, it was these two. It was the blue light and the sour cherry that really got me, because with the shading, the flow, the beauty, the price, the saturation and availability right now anyway, or when I was looking, I was really excited about that. And no bleed through on my Leuchtturm. So that's a pattern that keeps coming up with these, at least with these four. So let's see how it worked out here. I got a bunch of, oh my. Okay, and this one didn't have a ton of sheen, but it had shading, definitely a lot of shading, and you could see that in the splatter too. But let's see. Diamine Communication Breakdown was one that reminded me of it, even though I believe the gold sheen on this does make it stand out, and it's a little different. It's not going to be the same, of course. And then Pure Pen's Caldwater. That's different though. But still, it's right in that ballpark. This is not. Diamine Burgundy Royale. My eye picks up a difference right away, and yours will too. And then Red Number 1. I haven't worked with this very much yet. And it's much redder than the Sour Cherry, but it's a contender, I think. Monteverde Passion Burgundy. This is a real pretty ink. I don't know how close it is to that one, but I thought we could compare them. Oh yes, and this one, I'm going to move this down because I wanted to see the Jacques Arbonne Rouge d'Orient. Okay, but there's another one. Yeah, and Rouge Grenade. I just felt like we were in the ballpark and we were really getting close there. I just need to push the whole thing up. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, there. Okay, I like the map in the background though. Okay, Sailor Grenade. Okay, it's got a lot more gold sheen, so it changes the look of it. And it may be pinker, but it sort of balances out in a nib. So that's something to consider too. And that's one of my favorite inks. It's climbing all the time because of how great it looked in my medium nib. The little Mont Blanc that was gifted to me by Wayne. It's just so gorgeous in that pen that I think that'll be the pen that I match it with always. Okay, so that's it for this one. This really got me back into, you know, daily ink splashing, you could call it. I've certainly been writing letters, but this also got me back into the core of what I enjoy, which is comparing inks and looking at them. Now, this is the last one of this series, and it's Almazold Apple Green. It's very light, but look at the intensity in the splash. It's a wet ink, and I do them all exactly the same. So they get put into that syringe and completely the ink gets smushed out, and then I back it up and squish it the same way on every single one. So you can see how many times it took to, you know, get it to stop spraying. And it really was coming out of there. And there's the chromatography. Okay, I tried to draw an apple, but I don't know about that. So this camera is lighting, you're brightening this up a little, maybe making it look just a little more intense than it is. But it's actually being fairer to this than some of the other colors. Okay, I said this ink is a lighter green than I normally go for, but it splats amazing and it shades super well. You can see the shading, I think. Let me hold it up. Yeah, there's a lot of shading going on, and especially in that lighter. So that was a theme throughout all 4 of these samples. I'd be excited to try even more of these. I'll tell you, this has been fun. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the rest. Okay, it made me think of Colorverse Allen Hills 84001. That was in an ink flight once. But that had a little complexity and it was maybe a little different. And then a Prairie Green out of Twisby is a intense, it's just more intense, that's all. Pure Pens Glens of Antrim, okay? That's darker. Are we doing that thing again where you can't see what I'm doing? Okay. And then Caran d'Ache Delicate Green is in a different, it's more like the Twisby green. So we'll put it over here. Made me think a little bit of Noodler's Grün Cactus Eel, but I do believe that, whoops, wow, goodbye everybody. We're leaving the building, okay. I don't even know if we're straight, probably not. It's just a different green and it's probably more intense. It looks a lot more intense. And then Scribble Verde Prado is in there. So I believe this one's going to be for my friends who like a lighter saturation, muted, but you can still read it really well. Oh, here's Robert Oster Green Lime. Not a duplicate by any means, but... And Monteverde Key Lime Pie, which is, you know, it's got that brightness to it. So this is unique so far. I just felt like it looked a lot like the Allen Hills, but... Okay, then Diamine Kelly Green. That's just for comparison, because you see how we're in this category here. So what fun this was. Again, I'm excited that there's still some, and I kept, I like 4 mil samples. I kept the blue inked up, and I've still got the green inked up today. But I'm actually thinking about using this one for February, and February is really coming up, sneaking up fast on me. So I'm thinking of using this one for February pen pal letters. There's plenty left in here. And that'll be nice. But anyway, I'm just babbling. So what do you think? Did you have a favorite? I realized that the Robert Oster Shimmer ink was sort of the oddball in this set. But then in the Pannonia, I really liked the blue. But I could say the same for this one. It's just such an intense kind of a, almost not burgundy. It's just a bright, happy cherry color. You know, of real cherries that like growing on the tree. It's just really pretty. I didn't dislike this one, but it definitely wouldn't be for me because I want much more readability. Let's see, we'll go back. Yeah, 4. Yeah, it left me wanting more almost because I saw they had several different colors. But that was a really nice selection as far as seeing 2 really saturated ones and 2 of the lighter to see how well it still behaved. And the way that sprayed out of there, I was afraid it was going to bleed through my Leuchtturm, but it didn't. So this is just a mini kind of a glimpse at things. It's really not a full, complete workup, but I thought it might help you if you were like me and had not been introduced yet to these. And I will make sure I do the correct markings and everything, but just know that these were provided to me free of charge in my order, and I wasn't asked to do a review or anything. They just know I like to do this, that's all, and I like to check out new inks. So I will see you on the next one. I really need to get busy deciding what I'm going to ink up for February. I've been enjoying my January inks and pens, but I've cleaned out 3 pens already, so definitely it's time. And then I've got one pen from January. I guess you could guess which one. That TWSBI VAC 700R that I don't want to stop writing with. I'm not going to. I'm going to either pick a different ink or I'm going to continue, you know, a clean and refill with the same, because it's just such an experience to write with that pen. It was gifted to me. So I'll let you go, and I'd love to hear any of your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.